Hey there, Magic players. If you're like me, then you want to make Magic great again. And I've found a way that you can tell other people that you want to make Magic great again with these two beautiful t-shirts. One featuring our Lord and Savior Pepe, and the other with no Pepe. They're going fast, and they're only going to be for sale for a limited time. So make sure you check out your sweet Make Magic Great Again t-shirt at the link below. What is going on, everyone? Jeremy here from MTG Headquarters. Do what I do. This time I'm talking about Kaladesh pre-release. Say what you want about me being a filthy casual. I do play a lot of pre-releases. So this is going to be my 10-minute shortcut keys to success for Kaladesh pre-release. So there's kind of two sets of preparations that I usually recommend, and they're both physical and mental. So let's talk about the physical side, or the mental side of things first. What is pre-release? It's basically a casual tournament to get to know the new cards. They run a week ahead of time for when the new set comes out. So this coming up weekend, we will be able to open Kaladesh cards a week before they actually come out. So it's very exciting as a casual pack cracker like myself. You get to play with them early. You can win cool prizes, including packs from the newest set. And you can also meet new people. The crowds at pre-release are often very different than what you might see at a particular week to week at your local game store. So meeting new people that show up for pre-release is always a lot of fun. It's the primary reason I go to pre-release. I mean, nowadays I go to help shoot the videos for you guys, but also it's to meet new people. So there's a couple different things I like to do each time before pre-release. Let's start with the mental. Make sure you understand the new mechanics. For Kaladesh, we have vehicles and pilots, we have energy, and we have fabricate. I've talked about it in a previous episode of news, and also the Wizard site, which will be linked below, explains each of the mechanics pretty decently, and they're all pretty straightforward. Energy is just extra mana resources. Vehicles are just an ability you can turn things into creatures. And fabricate allows you to create tokens and things of that nature. Then I like to look at spoilers. So there's a variety of sites out there. I think if you know of a better one than mythicspoiler.com, I recommend posting it in the links or in the comment section down below. I don't associate with them. It just happens to be the best tool that I see currently. There are other places you can view the spoilers, but I think that website puts everything together pretty decently. One thing I've learned over the years, though, is really we all have some amount of limited time. And so for this event, I think I'm really just going to focus on the commons and uncommons. And the reason you focus on that is because you open 6 packs of cards, and that's the deck you build. Well, you're only going to get 6 rares, okay? Maybe 7 if you get a foil, or if there's a seeded pack, you might get a rare there. But regardless of that, the vast majority of the cards you're going to play with are going to be commons and uncommons. So spend your time understanding what each common and uncommon does, and I think you're going to set yourself up pretty well for understanding the cards you might open. Another thing you can do is actually run sample pools. Now, I use MTGen.net, but I know there's a lot of different ones out there. So if you know some to generate sample pools, make sure you post them up in the comments down below. Why is a sample pool important? Well, it helps you kind of mentally build decks and look for certain archetypes, things like that. Some of the things you're going to look for in Kaladesh will be like blue, white, enter the battlefield, or blink effects, white, red vehicles and tokens, white, green tokens and 1/1 counters, blue, red combo or energy, blue, green tempo and energy. There's always archetypes that you can find with every new set. And I think the value of supporting or of focusing on particular archetypes far exceed, there's a synergistic effect. So if you have a bunch of red cards, a bunch of white cards, then you kind of look for, okay, well, what do I have going on here for the vehicle mechanic? Do I have pilots? Do I have vehicles? It almost builds the deck. Now that I've gone to so many pre-releases in my life, like the deck really builds itself. You open the cards, you lay them out by color. That's what I do every time, and that's what I recommend you do. Then you see, okay, what do I have the most of? What synergies do I have? What bombs do I have? Remember bread, bombs, removal, equipment, artifacts, and I don't know what D is anymore. That's crazy. I can't think of it right now, but you get it. So you look for your bombs, you look for things like removal, equipment, artifacts, and I can't believe I can't think of the D. But anyway, so I always look at by color, first of all. That's going to build 38 cards out of 40 of your deck. Then you squeeze a few bombs in and kind of figure out what you're going to do. So deck building in Sealed is not as complicated as you think. Remember, you're going to have a lot of long game board stalls in pre-release. In any sealed format, you have a lot of that. So you want to play cards that have flying or cards that are unblockable. You want to play several combat tricks. You want to play cards that have death touch. Things like this are high value in sealed events so that they help break up that board stall where you both have 4 or 5 creatures out. Nobody can attack profitably, and then you're just top decking, waiting to pull a combat trick to then finally turn them sideways, swing in, and try to get there. So I always try to play like, if I have a weaker card that's flying, I generally choose that over a vanilla type card or a card that has some sort of evasion, just because board stalls are real in sealed events, and focusing on that has always done really well for me. Now remember, your deck is what it is. It's 6 random packs of cards. It's not like going to Standard or Modern or Legacy or Vintage where you bring your pre-constructed deck. So some people will get lucky. Some people open a bunch of on-color rares and have a crazy good deck, and sometimes you're going to open up cards all over the place and you're going to have to play 3 colors just to get 40 cards together. This is the nature of pre-release, and that's why I tell people, go there with the expectation, have fun. Don't go there trying to win, because we can't control what we open. Many pre-releases that I've finished in the top 8 have been the result of basically me opening great pools and then just not screwing up. Once you've kind of prepared mentally, you can listen to the Limited Resources podcast. Usually comes out like the day before. Set reviews. LSV always does a good set review. Then I try to start preparing physically for it. So many pre-releases that I play in are usually 4 rounds, okay? But some go much longer. Some will go 8 or 10 rounds if they cut to a top 8. So basically, you're looking at a minimum of 4 hours in most cases, but I've played pre-releases that are as long as 10 hours. So it really depends how many people you're facing in this particular pre-release. So plan accordingly. Make sure you get a good night's sleep. Take a shower, wear a belt. No butt cracks in Kaladesh. Hashtag no butt cracks. Look, I'm sorry, but I've been reminded that my butt crack tends to sneak its way out every now and again, and it's just good courtesy to not let the cracketh come. Keep the cracketh in the pants. You know what I mean. Be ready to meet new people, and be ready to be kind to people. People are there to have fun, and this is not a competitive environment. Make sure you try to not eat a pile of junk food, like eating a pile of Taco Bell before pre-release. It's not going to bode well for you physically. But again, it doesn't really matter all that much as long as you have fun. I mean, I say this in every pre-release video, and in almost every pre-release, I end up having a couple of beers before I go, and then I end up with a headache 2 hours in, and I don't know why I don't take my own advice. I would also make sure you take time to bring, if you have these things, they're not required. All you have to do is show up and you have everything you need. But if you happen to have these things, bring dice, a playmat, sleeves, and a top loader. Maybe one top loader is fine. What if you open one of these crazy expensive soul rings or something like that, and you have a $200 card in your hand and you don't want to just shove it in your pocket? So I try to just bring a top loader just in case. If you have it, pick up 100 sleeves or use 100 sleeves. Pre-sleeve your lands. 20 of each would have you completely covered if you had to play any sort of mono type deck, but generally 15 lands of each color pre-sleeved is going to save you a bunch of time. Remember, you have to use the same sleeves for your deck as well as your lands, so you can't use 2 different kinds of sleeves. So make sure you have enough. Make sure you have at least 100 sleeves, because if you're going to pre-sleeve 75 lands, you need to have another 25, 30 sleeves for the cards you're going to play. Why is this important? Pre-release is hectic. You're going to spend a lot of time reading the cards. You're going to spend a lot of time talking to people. You're going to spend a lot of time just chilling. And you only get 20 minutes or so to build your deck. So you don't really want to be standing in line at the land area trying to get the lands for your deck. It's a huge waste of time. And it's the number one advantage I can tell people to do. Pre-sleeve your lands. Now, when you're there, you get a randomized date-stamped premium promo card, okay? You get your constructible Thopter. Who cares about that? Not me. 6 Kaladesh booster packs, and your insert with deck building advice. If you don't know how to build a deck, you're going to struggle with the amount of time you have. And then you get your own life spin down life counter. So like I said, you don't need to play with sleeves. You don't need to bring a dice. You don't need to bring a playmat. You can just show up and play Magic. And that's why pre-release is so awesome. Don't worry about making mistakes. It's about fun. Everybody makes mistakes at pre-release. Every pre-release, I've made plenty of misplays, not understanding new mechanics, not reading the card fully, and all sorts of things. So don't get too down on yourself. Make sure you focus more about introducing yourself to people, saying hello, making them feel welcome. If you're new, don't be afraid to shake someone's hand and say, hey, my name's Jeremy. Good to meet you. When you sit down across from the table, you could say, hey, have fun. And when you're done with your games, you could say something like, thanks for the games. I'm not a big fan of saying good games because that can annoy some people. I know it doesn't bother me because, you don't mean anything by it, but I think, hey, thanks for the games is a lot safer. And, it just keeps everyone okay. Remember, again, pre-release is most importantly an awesome way to meet new Magic players and encourage them to return, right? There's nothing worse than sitting in my local game store at 6 people, hoping and praying that 2 people are going to walk in that door the last 5 minutes before the first draft of the new set so our draft can fire. So I think pre-release is the most important time for local game stores to find new customers because it brings out a lot of casuals, a lot of people like myself who don't necessarily have time or even know about certain draft events and things like that. So make sure people feel welcome because then they're going to come back to your local game store. If you play your local game store and making sure your draft fire is important to you, make sure people know when drafts are and that you want them to show up and say, hey, I'm going to see you. Hey, Wednesday, remember, first draft of the set. Make sure you're there. Wednesday, 6:30. I can't wait to see you there. And you have to encourage people. Magic players aren't always the most social. And I think just kind of getting that more veteran person reaching out is just really, really, really important. Remember, don't be an asshole. That's kind of important for pre-release. It's not about, like I said, it's not about winning. Look, you're going to get your deck. You're going to get your cards. You can't control your cards. You're either going to open a good pool or you're going to open a mediocre pool. Or you're going to open a poop pool or somewhere in between. These are things you can't control. Somebody's going to open 2 Planeswalkers and they're going to go 4-0 and everyone's going to be jealous. But don't get caught up on that. Just go and have fun. It's a cool event. I mean, it breaks my heart when I go to my locals on Sunday. I went to my locals on Sunday of last pre-release and there was 3 people there. People need to come and have fun. It's awesome way to meet people. Remember, again, I probably said remember 36 times here. You don't get better without playing the game. So encourage people to come back and play. Make people feel welcome. Focus on fun and not winning, and that is what's going to ensure that your Kaladesh pre-release is going to be a success. I hope that some of these tips help prepare you. I've put them down in a more condensed form rather than shooting a video for every little thing. I'm going to put links in the description to the deck generator, the seal pull generator, very helpful for mentally building decks. The link to the mechanics that will help you understand, and some links to the spoilers that you could take a few minutes just reading over and understanding what the new cards are all about. If you do these things, if you spend just 30 minutes getting ready for your pre-release, you're probably going to win a few more games than you would have if not, and you're definitely going to have more fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon. What's up, and thanks for watching this video. I produce all different kinds of content, so if you haven't yet, click on my face to subscribe. If you want to watch more videos, I've got some sweet playlists, including this one, where I open up every fat pack ever created. I've also got this one over here where I open just about anything vintage and old and expensive for your enjoyment. And all this is made possible by the awesome backers at our Patreon, which is linked in the description of every video. Hop on over there, check it out, see if it's something you might want to consider. If not, sit back, enjoy, and I'll still love you.